Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be able to talk about the book that changed my life, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. This book is absolutely, it's incredible. If you're ready, if you're willing to open your mind and learn how to be in control of our mind as opposed to our minds to be in control of us, how to be more present, how to let go, how to understand our ego and even the depths of consciousness. It's unbelievable, this book, and all these things that are vital to us living a more fulfilled, more present life. And this book goes so deep into that. Now, if you struggle to take that time to read a book, to focus, I sometimes struggle to take that time, and sometimes I want to be on the go, I want to listen while I move. Well, now you can, because I have teamed up with Audible. As I'm sure you guys know, they do audiobooks. You can get A New Earth on that. So instead of sitting down and reading, you can walk around, you can listen to an audiobook. It makes it so much more accessible to everyone. It has podcasts, it has sleep stories, it has everything, which is something that I really, really love. Plus, if you sign up to Audible, every member gets a free audiobook every month, and you get full access to their Plus catalog. Now, who doesn't want that? Of course you do. If you're still unsure, if you still don't know, they also do a 30-day free trial if you go to audible.com/Ben Jolliffe or text Ben Jolliffe to 500 500. Make sure you spell my name right. Now, with that said, let's move on with the video. I'm going to go through my top 5 takeaways of A New Earth. Now, you might look at the ego and think it's narcissism. It's someone that's got a big ego. They think they're better than other people. And it is that, but it's so much more. We all have an ego, and the ego is the voice in our head. And you might be thinking, what voice in the head? And it's that one. It's the one that doesn't stop talking, doesn't stop judging, doesn't stop complaining, doesn't stop comparing. And it's something that's been ingrained to us since we were kids, from our society, and the fear that's been instilled from our parents to schools to everywhere you look. Those things become ingrained into us, and it also becomes our identity. And that started about 2,500 years ago, when we had tribes and they needed gatherers and hunters, and they realized they needed to have roles, they needed to have people with different tasks. And over time that became everyone's identity. We treat people different because of who we think they are, who their jobs are, who they represent, who they are friends with, all these things that it isn't who they are on such a deeper level. And our ego is the version of ourselves we present to the world. It's not who we are truly deep down. And once we can learn to be aware of our ego, that's the beginning of the diminishment of the ego. And that is what the book really represents. If we're not aware of our ego, then our ego is in control of us, and we don't realize how poisonous that is. Maybe you feel victimized. That's one of the parts. If you feel like the world's against you, nothing's gonna go your way, that's your identity for your ego. If you think you're better than everyone else, you're superior to everyone else, that's your ego. And ironically, that actually deep down means you actually feel inferior. That's why you need to show off, tell everyone how great you are. And once you start realizing that, it's so much easier to become aware, to decide how to react. If we're not aware, we're never gonna improve. It's not just for us, it's the collective ego. And that's why as humans, we inflict so much pain on each other. That's why war happens, but that's what the ego does. And the bigger the numbers, the bigger the pain, the bigger the problem. We must learn for ourselves what we can do to be more present, to spread more love and put better energy out there so we're not fulfilling something. Because the more we overthink a thought, that becomes a belief. And you know what it's like, we've all been there. We might get a bad text message from someone, as simple as that. We start overthinking it, we start worrying they're not replying, and you said something about weird, or maybe you had a drink the night before, you can't really remember what you did, and all these little things. And then suddenly you start convincing yourself in your mind about this problem, and the more time goes by, the more you overthink it, the more it becomes a belief, the more it becomes a fact. And whatever you put your attention to, that becomes your truth. And unless we can catch ourselves in that thought pattern, it's gonna just spiral into something so dark and so poisonous. And because it's become a fact, because it's become a belief, it's a lot harder for us to break away and realize that we're wrong, or realize that we went a bit too far. And that's such a big problem in the society we're in, because the ego needs to be right. And look, we've all been there. We all have been in that situation, and we all know people as well that just cannot admit when they're wrong. That's why we need to be aware in the moment of that thought pattern as it's happening, so you can stop it. And how we're going to change that? Just a bit of awareness, guys. That's it. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. We have to learn to surrender to the moment and accept what is. And what Eckhart talks about is the three modalities of awakened doing is acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. And you can't always have all three at the same time, but you always have to have at least one. You can't enjoy every single moment you're in, right? As an example, I remember me and Jen, we went to go get tested for COVID, and we thought we'd be in and out in 5 minutes, and the line was like 2 hours long, and we wanted to go see our parents, so we thought we have to go get tested to be safe. And your first initial reaction is to get annoyed, to get resentful, and all those things. And I thought, I just read the book, I thought, I'm gonna accept this moment. And I was standing there in the line, and I was watching so many people frustrated, and I wasn't finding enjoyment through that, because again, that's the ego trying to get pleasure through other people's pain. But for 2 hours in the boiling sun, sweating, the fact that I was able to accept it meant I was able to find enjoyment through that. And that was such a beautiful moment, because I realized that I can apply this to everything. And for enthusiasm, you're not always gonna have that. That comes in waves, but if you can enjoy something with a goal, something to work towards, then you can find enthusiasm through that. So those three things are so powerful. But the first thing in life, acceptance. Whatever the present moment is, accept it as if you had chosen it. It's not what happens to life that defines us, but it's how we react to it. And the key to growth and happiness lies in the gap between stimulus and response. If something happens where you feel your emotion change, you feel that resistance, you feel that anger, whatever it is, you take a deep breath and you stop and you just accept it. You let it go. And that awareness in that gap is the key to life. And I'm learning that so much now. Any emotional change I have, I can be aware as my emotions, or I feel myself resist, I can be aware to be like, oh, this is happening now. This is my stimulus. How do I want to respond? So how do we do that? How do we become more aware, more present? One massive thing is meditation. We all know this. We know how powerful meditation can be. The more we can focus on a breath, the more we can be aware in the moment. So for that stimulus and response, that gap where we can decide how to react, the more we're able to catch those moments. If you're worried with thought, your body reacts danger. It's like primal, like with animals. They don't have the self-awareness we do. So if they see, a predator coming, their pain body is danger, danger. So it goes in fight or flight mode, and it just bombs it, runs away. And we have the same thing, but because the pain body can't tell the difference between an actual situation and an emotion, it goes into fight or flight mode if we're worried. And that's a really dangerous thing, because any emotion you have, it acts as though it's actually reality, and it goes into fight or flight mode. Say for example, you're sat in bed at night and you're about to go to sleep, you're super tired, you're just sat there, and then suddenly you get a text message from an angry friend, and then suddenly your heart rate goes up, suddenly you start getting a bit sweaty, you're fully awake now, everything changes, but nothing's happened for you to really get sweaty and to get that heart rate going. And that's your pain body, and that's what connects you to your emotions and to your thoughts. So we need to learn to stop that cycle before it gets out of hand, because stress is one of the biggest causes for all diseases. And that's because when the body goes in fight or flight mode, it shuts down your immune system, it shuts down your nervous system, because it needs 100% energy for fight or flight to get away from the predator. And like the ego, the pain body, it feeds off negative emotions. And let's say, for example, you've never been to planet Earth. You come down for the first time. One of the biggest things you'll be so horrified and shocked by is how humans love to inflict pain on each other. We think about the entertainment industry, how much of it is just humans killing each other, and we literally go out of our way to watch it. And something that's really sad to see, say if you had an abusive relationship growing up and that pain body was so negative, you're going through so much pain, but because that pain body was fed with so much of that pain, it needs to recreate that. So that's why a lot of people that had abusive relationships might continue to go into other abusive relationships and confuse that with love, because the pain body thrives off that same emotion, and because it's two pain bodies feeding off each other, which is so dangerous. But once you can understand that and realize that, you're able to use your awareness and try and think for how you truly feel. This is one of my favorite things to learn about, how we're all connected. We're all the same on a deeper level through consciousness, and all life forms, from animals to plants to all these things that we're all connected to. And that was such a beautiful way to look at it. And that was one of the first things Eckhart talks about in the book. And once you realize that everything is alive, we're all connected to it, it makes you want to have more empathy for other lives. It makes you want to love animals like they are yourselves, and even to other humans, to have appreciation that we are all connected, we are all one, we are all in this together on such a deeper level, and to have that and to understand that on that level makes it a lot easier to have empathy for everything and everyone. There's so much good in the world as well, and if we focus on that and try and put that good energy out as a collective, we're going to be okay. And the beauty of spirituality is the root of all religions. God is consciousness. When you're connected to consciousness, free of the ego, that's heaven, that's enlightenment. When the ego is in control of you, that's hell. That's when you're trapped in the mind, trapped in the ego. And once we look at ourselves as a whole, it's not my religion, but it's all of humanity, all of consciousness. It's not my country, but it's for all. It's not my species, but I love all species. And once we can learn that, connect and appreciate all of nature, that's how we grow. And at the end of the book, Eckhart uses a quote from Jesus that says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And the meek are the egoless, humble ones. And that's what we're talking about here. Once you're free from the ego, you can be one with consciousness. You can love all life, all beings. We're all connected. Once you feel that, and once you put that love and that empathy out into the world, we can all feel it. We can all be connected. And us as a human race, as well as us as individuals, we can all live a better life. We can all spread more love, spread more empathy. And that's just what life's all about. And try and get into that frame of mind of loving all nature, loving all beings, loving everyone as they are yourself as well. We will live a good life. We will live a life of peace. We will live a life of love and empathy. And that's what we want, right? Like I said, we have two paths in life. We can walk towards love, or we can walk towards fear. Let's walk towards love. But thank you all so much for listening. I hope this has connected with you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much to Audible for this partnership. Like I said before, if you go to audible.com/Ben Jolliffe or text Ben Jolliffe to 500, you get your 30-day free trial. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.